you so much for being here. I had basically two primary motivations for why I wanted to hold a concert today. The first was to challenge myself to put together a cohesive program and practice like crazy in a time when it's really easy as seniors to kind of let yourself go. And the second is to share a part of myself that not a lot of you know. A lot of you know me as a student or a neighbor or a friend or a tree climber or that girl who always has baguettes for some reason. But not a lot of you know me as a pianist. So I've been playing piano for 13 years, which translates to roughly 72% of my life, which is kind of crazy, like almost 3/4. And it hasn't always been a smooth ride. Definitely when I was little, as most young pianists, I dreaded practicing and often got frustrated when I felt like I wasn't progressing fast enough for my own standards. But kind of as I've grown and matured and I have some more patience now, so music has really transformed into one of my primary creative outlets that I can use to like express my challenges and my emotions. So I apologize for my friends who I sometimes ditch to go crank out a few hours on the keys, but I've come to learn that. Except, not that funny, but I've found that few things parallel the feeling of nailing a piece after sometimes close to a year of preparation. Piano is definitely something that lacks instant gratification, but it makes the end result even more gratifying and powerful. So yeah, that's all about me. Just an overview. Today I'm going to be playing 6 pieces. I don't really have a favorite because they all resonate with me at different times and when I'm feeling different ways. But I'm going to speak about each piece before I play it, kind of like KHWS Student Radio, if you guys. So yeah, let's just get started. So the first piece I'm going to be playing is Black Earth by Fazil Say, and I first heard this this October at the Daniel Pearl concert, and I just thought, I gotta learn that. It's a super cool piece based off of a Turkish folk song called Kara Toprak, which describes loneliness and loss, where all that remains is the black earth. Kind of Debbie Downer, but it's not all depressing. But you will see at the beginning and the end, the dampening of the strings is supposed to imitate the Turkish lute called the saz. But besides that, the central sections are more complex in terms of style. That kind of features like folk and romantic and jazz periods. So it's really a contemporary piece at its core. Thank you. All right, the next piece I'm going to be playing is Blue Ivory by Martin Herzberg, and he's a contemporary composer from Berlin. And I tried to find out some fun facts about him, but his Wikipedia page and website were in German, and so I threw in the towel with that one. But personally, I found this piece actually on YouTube when I was in 7th grade. And I remember thinking it was so cool that the price was in euros. It was like so exotic. But this was the first piece that I found on my own. So it was kind of the beginning of when piano was something that I did for me instead of an obligation. It was way more when I started to take personal ownership. So the next piece I'm going to be playing is Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, Opus 9, number 2. And this is definitely my emo piece. This is the piece I play when it's late at night and the house is all dark and quiet, which is fitting because nocturne means night. And this is also one of my dad's favorite pieces, so I always think about him when I play it. But just some things about Chopin. He was from the Romantic period, and he wrote 21 nocturnes, and he didn't invent them, but he largely popularized and expanded them. And he was a little weird. He liked to play in the dark, so even when he was playing in front of people, he would ask them to blow out all the candles in the room. And this specific nocturne, kind of the idea is a repeated theme that frees itself over time with the use of rubato and ornamentation. have a little change of gears, and the next piece is a gypsy dance. So it's called Sacromonte by Tarina, and he's a Spanish composer. This piece came from a set of pieces called the Danzas Gitanas, which means gypsy dance. But Sacromonte is a traditional neighborhood in Andalusia, Spain, which is home of the Grenadian gypsies. And this piece is really fun to play. It's quite the adrenaline rush at the end. So. So the next piece I'm going to be... The next piece... Oh, was I out of the light? Yeah, okay. It's hotter over here. The next piece that I'm going to be... The next piece that I'm going to be playing is Debussy's Arabesque No. 1. Debussy is my favorite composer. He is often thought of as the first impressionistic composer, although he vigorously rejected that term. But he does have his own kind of non-traditional style of like scales and chromaticism and harmonies. And people love him now, but in his day, the music community widely disapproved of his outlandish style, but the critics and professors couldn't deter his spirit. He kept making music in his own style. This specific arabesque is from earlier on in his compositional period, so it doesn't quite demonstrate his full set of skills, or like his really unique compositional style. But it does kind of possess this idea of freedom within structure, which is an idea that he continues to use throughout his compositional period. So I have one more piece today, ending with a bang with Rachmaninoff's Prelude in G minor, Opus 23, number 5. And my grandfather Skip actually showed me this the first time, and whenever he's in town, we listen to it in the car. So one day I asked Nancy if I could play it, and she said yes, which surprised me because I thought it was way above my technique and skill level. And here we are 2 years later. So definitely the hardest piece I've ever learned. Has some killer jumps, and I performed this a decent number of times. Some of them have gone okay, some of them, but it's a humbling experience, and I still love it. Still try to love it. Still consider it like kind of the crown jewel of my piano career. But just some things about Rachmaninoff. He has really big hands. He can reach a 13th on the piano. I don't know if I can reach like a 9th, but I kind of use that as an excuse when I don't hit the jumps. He just had big hands. But he was Russian, but he left after the Russian revolutions. And in fact, he was so in the thick of it that he was making revisions to his first piano concerto as gunshots and rallies were going off in the background from the October Revolution. So all of this social and political unrest, as well as the suffering that accompanied it, is definitely apparent in his music. With this specific prelude, it contains the essence of a military march, especially at the beginning and the end. So, here we go. All right.
So many of you may not know that in addition to this incredible musicianship and artistry, that Avery is also a mentor. And she is a mentor to Daniel Cole, who would actually like to say something.
Okay, my name is Daniel Cole. I'm finishing up 2nd grade. My dad, Andrew Cole, took lessons from Nancy too. Avery has been doing guided practice with me for about 2 years. I really appreciate her help. I especially like her positive energy. She remains calm and serious, but allows me to have fun with her at times as well. Thank you for such a great performance and all your instruction. I hope one day you'll come back to listen to me play Rachmaninoff at my senior recital.
Thanks, Daniel. Now I have some thank yous of my own. First, I'm fueled by this incredible group of friends and family who has come to hear me play, especially Evan, who's all the way from Michigan just for this. And I think the furthest traveler is my grandmother, Gail, who's here from Washington, D.C., so thank you. And I thank and love you all, but also I would like to single out some more people. Two of my grandparents, Kay and Skip, who are the biggest supporters you can ever have. I'll get into more of that tomorrow night. But also my parents, Eleanor and Brian, who will stop anything that they're doing that's making noise without hesitation so that I can practice in peace, except if they're watching Game of Thrones. Then I have to wait a little bit. And lastly, I would like to thank my piano teacher, Nancy. I've been seeing you almost every week for 13 years, and you're not only my role model, but my second mom. And I wouldn't trade our late night conversations for anything, and I can't wait to learn from you for the rest of my life. So. Is that for you? So enjoy the refreshments, make yourself at home.
Wow.